A single sheet of paper trembles in Eisenhower's weathered hands. June 4, 1944. Two letters rest before him, one celebrating victory, another accepting catastrophe. Tonight, words will determine whether democracy survives its greatest test in human history. You've never heard this story? Behind every D-Day documentary lies a hidden narrative of intercepted love letters, encrypted diary entries, and confessions that nearly betrayed the Allied invasion. Paper trails that almost rewrote the bloodiest chapter of the 20th century. Meet Private Tommy Henderson from Nebraska. 3 days before the invasion, he scribbles intimate details to his sweetheart about swimming lessons in cold water. His romantic confession contains tactical intelligence worth 10,000 German lives. Love becomes potential treason. Henderson's letter sits unopened in a canvas mail sack, inches from German hands. Enemy agents monitor every Allied postal route, hunting for exactly such careless revelations. Romance and reconnaissance dance together on history's razor edge, separated by mere chance. What transforms innocent words into weapons of mass destruction? Context, timing, enemy interpretation. Henderson's swimming lessons could expose Normandy's landing beaches. In wartime, every love letter carries the potential weight of genocide or liberation within its innocent sentences. Churchill paces Downing Street at midnight, cigar smoke curling around classified correspondence. His private letters to Roosevelt reveal doubts disguised as strategy, fears masked as diplomatic necessity. Behind closed doors, world leaders confess vulnerabilities that public speeches dare not reveal. The Prime Minister's handwriting deteriorates with each draft. Steady script transforms into anxious scrawl as he calculates acceptable casualty rates. His personal correspondence captures the crushing mathematics of leadership, trading lives for liberty in equations no politician survives unchanged. Consider Margaret Walsh, postal censor from Dublin. 24 years old, armed with black scissors and absolute authority over soldiers' deepest thoughts. She reads 10,000 love letters weekly, wielding censorship like a surgeon's blade, cutting away dangerous truths. Walsh's desk overflows with confiscated romance, passionate declarations transformed into Swiss cheese documents, riddled with holes where classified information once lived. She preserves operational security by destroying human connection, one redacted sentence at a time, protecting secrets through systematic heartbreak. But some letters escape her vigilant eye. Corporal James Muller describes rehearsals on beaches resembling French coastline to his mother. His homesick observations contain precise intelligence about Allied amphibious training locations. Nostalgia becomes inadvertent espionage, threatening the entire invasion operation. You witness the intersection where personal expression collides with global survival. Every written word carries dual potential, human connection or strategic catastrophe. In 1944, love letters function as potential intelligence goldmines, waiting to be decoded by enemy cryptographers. German intelligence officer Colonel Klaus Weber studies intercepted Allied correspondence in his concrete Berlin bunker. Mountains of confiscated mail surround his desk like paper graves. He searches for patterns hidden within soldiers' homesickness, hunting military secrets disguised as emotional vulnerability. Weber notices increasing references to French holidays and seaside adventures in captured letters. His trained analytical mind recognizes tactical significance beneath romantic metaphors. Every birthday card becomes potential reconnaissance, each love poem a strategic revelation waiting to be properly interpreted and decoded. Yet German intelligence faces its own human limitations. Overwhelmed translators misinterpret crucial signals, dismissing genuine military intelligence as meaningless romantic nonsense. Information overload becomes Allied salvation, too much data obscuring vital truths, beneath emotional white noise and bureaucratic incompetence. Enter Lieutenant Sarah McKenna, Scottish nurse stationed in Portsmouth. She writes coded resistance instructions disguised as romantic letters to her fictional French boyfriend. Her imaginary love affair carries real intelligence through Nazi checkpoints, transforming fabricated romance into deadly accurate reconnaissance. McKenna's creativity saves lives through deception. Her fake boyfriend, Pierre, receives passionate letters describing English weather patterns, troop movements, and supply shipments. German censors, charmed by apparent romance, forward these strategic revelations directly to French resistance networks operating behind enemy lines. What price does sustained deception demand from the human soul? McKenna writes love letters to a man who never existed, expressing genuine emotions for strategic purposes. Her fabricated romance becomes more real than authentic relationships sacrificed for wartime operational security. Flight Sergeant Michael O'Sullivan briefs his bomber squadron on their D-Day mission, destroying German radar installations along Norman coastlines. That evening, violating every security protocol, he transcribes complete tactical details in a letter to his wife. Love compels potential treason. O'Sullivan's wife receives his letter on June 7th, one day after D-Day commences. Timing transforms potential catastrophe into historical curiosity. His detailed tactical intelligence becomes irrelevant through providential postal delays. Bureaucratic inefficiency accidentally preserves Allied operational security through sheer coincidental fortune. Picture the German radio intercept station at Brest, operators monitoring Allied communications 24 hours daily. Every transmission analyzed, each frequency scrutinized. But personal correspondence travels different routes, often slipping beneath electronic surveillance networks designed to capture official military communications. Captain Heinrich Richter commands the Brest monitoring station. His sophisticated equipment intercepts Allied naval transmissions, but completely misses Private Henderson's letter describing big waves heading toward French shores. Technology versus human intelligence, warfare's eternal paradox between mechanical precision and emotional vulnerability. Richter's greatest triumph coincides with his most catastrophic failure. His team successfully decodes Allied weather reports while overlooking crucial tactical intelligence hidden within homesick soldiers' innocent correspondence. Electronic surveillance cannot monitor analog transmissions traveling through the human heart's private channels. Meanwhile, Army Chaplain Father William Cross hears confessions from thousands of soldiers before embarkation. Many describe their missions in spiritual terms, seeking absolution for anticipated violence. Cross becomes a repository for dangerous truths, maintaining secrecy through sacred confidentiality rather than military regulation. Cross writes carefully to his archbishop, describing the great moral weight of impending sacrifice without revealing tactical specifics. His theological correspondence demonstrates masterful wartime communication, conveying emotional truth while protecting operational secrets through religious language that transcends military censorship requirements. But not every chaplain proves equally discreet. Army Minister Robert Stevens writes graphically about delivering divine justice to Norman beaches. His theological enthusiasm nearly exposes landing zones through biblical metaphor. Faith clouding operational judgment, spiritual certainty, threatening strategic security. Stevens' letter reaches German intelligence through a network of Irish Republican sympathizers. Nazi analysts struggle to decode religious language, ultimately dismissing theological ramblings as meaningless spiritual guidance rather than recognizing embedded tactical intelligence. Divine intervention disguised as enemy analytical incompetence. You must understand the mathematical impossibility of perfect secrecy. 156,000 Allied soldiers simultaneously keeping identical secrets. Each man represents a potential security breach, every written word a possible intelligence disaster. Victory requires collective human discipline unprecedented in military history. Yet discipline proves imperfect among frightened young men far from home. Sergeant William Clark writes detailed descriptions of French countryside resembling familiar farmland to his worried mother. His homesick observations provide German analysts with crucial agricultural intelligence about Norman terrain features. Clark's mother lives in German-occupied Czechoslovakia. Local Nazi administrators monitor all incoming mail, searching for useful intelligence among personal correspondence. Her son's innocent homesickness becomes a strategic information source for enemy military planners analyzing potential Allied invasion routes through occupied territories. The letter arrives 3 weeks after D-Day ends successfully. By then, Clark lies wounded in a Norman field hospital, his homesick observations rendered harmless by military victory. Postal delays save lives. Bureaucratic incompetence transformed into inadvertent heroism through fortunate timing. The closest call involves Lieutenant General Bernard Montgomery's personal aide, who accidentally includes classified invasion timetables in correspondence addressed to the general's wife. The envelope sits unopened on her kitchen table as German agents monitor her neighborhood. Lady Montgomery, recognizing official military stationery, delays opening the letter until her husband returns from overseas deployment. Her domestic courtesy prevents the greatest intelligence disaster in military history. Love's patience preserving freedom's future through accidental wisdom and feminine intuition. How thin were the margins separating victory from catastrophe? Every D-Day veteran carries untold stories of almost disastrous communications that never quite reached enemy hands. Human nature, love, homesickness, spiritual need, nearly derailed history's most crucial military operation through innocent personal expression. Colonel Weber receives promotion after D-Day, his superiors praising his thorough analysis of Allied correspondence. He never realizes how close intercepted love letters came to exposing Norman landing beaches. Intelligence analysis represents warfare's ultimate irony, possessing puzzle pieces without recognizing the complete picture. Weber's files contain 47 intercepted pieces describing Allied beach training, weather observations, and tactical preparations. Individually meaningless, collectively explosive intelligence. He possessed every component necessary to predict Normandy's invasion, but never assembled the evidence into coherent strategic understanding. Post-war interrogations reveal Weber's team correctly identified Normandy as a possible invasion site based on intercepted mail patterns. However, conflicting intelligence and deliberate Allied disinformation ultimately convinced German command that Calais remained the primary Allied target throughout the deception campaign. Margaret Walsh never learned how many catastrophes her censorship scissors prevented. She spent the war cutting words from love letters, unaware that each redacted sentence potentially saved thousands of Allied lives. Heroism measured in missing paragraphs, courage quantified through systematic silence. After victory, Walsh receives official commendation for outstanding service to national security. The citation mentions neither her sleepless nights reading soldiers' intimate confessions nor the love stories she transformed into classified fragments. True heroism often remains invisible, unrecognized, deliberately forgotten. Private Henderson survives D-Day, returning home to marry his patient sweetheart. He never learns that his pre-invasion letter nearly exposed Allied landing plans to German intelligence. Some secrets remain permanently buried, protecting the innocence of accidental near traitors through merciful ignorance. Henderson's unopened letter rests in military archives today, a testament to the microscopic margins separating victory from disaster. Historians study it now, marveling at how close romantic confession came to catastrophic revelation. Love letters preserved as historical artifacts of narrowly avoided catastrophe. What lessons emerge from these paper trails toward potential catastrophe? War's outcome often depends not on grand strategies or heroic charges, but on ordinary people making extraordinary choices about seemingly insignificant personal communications that carry disproportionate historical consequences. Every letter censored, each word withheld, all envelopes delayed. These microscopic acts of discipline and bureaucracy collectively preserved the element of surprise that made D-Day possible. History pivots on tiny human decisions amplified across time into monumental consequences. You carry this lesson into your digital age, where personal communications travel at light speed to global audiences. Every social media post, text message, and photograph shares identical potential for unintended consequences. Modern technology amplifies ancient human vulnerabilities exponentially. Those D-Day soldiers wrote letters by lamplight, sealed them with hope, and trusted postal systems with their most dangerous thoughts. Today, you broadcast intimate details instantly to networks beyond human comprehension. Technological progress without corresponding wisdom creates unprecedented vulnerability. Perhaps criticism proves unfair. Those veterans faced impossible choices between human connection and operational security under unimaginable pressure. They chose love over safety, relationship over secrecy, revealing humanity's beautiful, dangerous need for emotional communion, transcending strategic considerations completely. Consider Margaret Wilson, the postal censor who intercepted Corporal Muller's tactically detailed letter. Her decision to wield censorship scissors rather than allow unchecked communication demonstrates courage disguised as routine bureaucratic procedure. Authority exercised through restraint becomes its own form of heroism. Wilson never met Muller, never learned whether he survived the invasion her censorship helped preserve. Their relationship existed entirely through crossed-out words and redacted paragraphs, human connection defined by what remained unsaid rather than shared between strangers united by circumstance. This defines love during wartime, not the words we speak, but the words we deliberately choose not to speak. Not the secrets we reveal, but the secrets we protect from those we care about most. Silence becomes the deepest expression of care. Flight Sergeant O'Sullivan returns from D-Day to find his wife has carefully preserved every censored letter he sent throughout the war. The black ink strips create abstract art across their correspondence, love letters transformed into classified poetry through systematic redaction. O'Sullivan and his wife spend quiet evenings attempting to remember what his original words said beneath the censor's marks. Their relationship rebuilds itself around missing pieces, love reconstructed from fragments, memory filling gaps that wartime security created through necessary separation. Years later, O'Sullivan's grandson discovers these censored letters in a dusty attic trunk. The boy struggles to understand why grandfather's words required hiding, why love letters needed military secrets removed. History teaching new generations about sacrifice disguised as separation. The grandson becomes a military historian, specializing in wartime correspondence analysis. His research reveals how personal communications nearly compromised Operation Overlord's success. His grandfather's love letters inspire academic inquiry into intelligence warfare's most profoundly human dimensions and psychological complexities. Today, these letters rest in climate-controlled archives, their dangerous secrets transformed into historical curiosities. Researchers handle them with white cotton gloves, marveling at how close romantic confession came to military catastrophe. Time neutralizing danger through historical distance and scholarly perspective. Yet their essential truth endures. Human beings will always risk everything to maintain emotional connections, even when those connections threaten collective survival. Love proves stronger than security, relationship more compelling than strategy. Our species' simultaneously beautiful and potentially catastrophic flaw. Eisenhower's unused failure letter represents every leader's nightmare scenario, explaining catastrophic defeat to a world expecting triumphant victory. His prepared apology statement embodies the ultimate loneliness of command responsibility during history's most crucial military gamble against fascist tyranny. The letter's existence proves that even history's greatest leaders prepared for disaster while hoping for success against seemingly impossible odds. Authentic leadership requires confronting potential failure with the same courage demanded for pursuing victory against overwhelming opposition. Behind every strategic military decision lies a paper trail of human doubt, fear, and uncertainty. Official histories celebrate confident leadership, but private correspondence reveals the trembling hands that signed orders sending millions toward potential death in defense of democratic freedom. These forgotten letters preserve voices that official records systematically silence. Personal correspondence reveals the authentic human cost behind strategic victories, individual fears behind collective courage, private doubts behind public confidence displayed for political and military propaganda purposes throughout the conflict. Dr. Sarah Thompson, Army field surgeon, writes clinical casualty projections disguised as letters to medical colleagues back home. Her correspondence predicts D-Day's human cost with surgical precision that official Allied planners prefer to ignore for morale and political reasons. Thompson's medical letters reveal how military leaders measure human life in statistical terms that grieving families would find unbearably cold and calculating. Behind every strategic calculation lies mathematics of acceptable loss that democracy requires but cannot publicly acknowledge without destroying morale. June 5, 1944. Final letters sealed and collected. Equipment loaded onto landing craft. Weather reports improving slightly. The correspondence phase ends as decisive action begins. Words transform into deeds as history's largest military gamble commences across the English Channel's treacherous waters. Looking back through discovered correspondence, victory was written in doubt, success emerged from fear, and triumph grew from acceptance of potential failure. These letters reveal courage's authentic face behind the heroic mythology that popular culture and political propaganda constructed afterward. The letters teach profound lessons about heroism's true nature. Heroes are not fearless superhuman beings. They write goodbye letters, express doubt, and seek comfort from loved ones. Authentic courage means acting despite fear, not the impossible absence of fear itself. So the next time you hesitate before sending any message, remember Private Henderson's undelivered letter, Margaret Walsh's censoring scissors, and the microscopic margin separating D-Day victory from catastrophic defeat. Your words carry more weight than you possibly realize. Tonight, somewhere in the world, someone writes a letter that might change tomorrow's history. Words remain humanity's most powerful weapon against darkness, tyranny, and despair. The correspondence continues through every generation, as it always must, until freedom finally prevails permanently.